I'm like, oh, okay, this is an officer. Okay. I'm trying to, like, figure out what's going on. And there's, like, a social worker woman sitting there. And they have my dining room chairs out of the dining room and in the living room, like, 3 in a row, like, facing the couch. And they are accusing me of punching my son in the face and giving him a black eye. I'm like, what are you talking about? At the time, my son had a slight bruise. It was like lightish, greenish, yellowish color underneath his right eye from his little brother punching him. They got in daily, multiple fights every day, like as soon as my back was turned. And
like boys do.
During the
and boys do that.
Yeah, and when there's autism in the mix, there, Amelia, it's like tenfold. So, and autistic parents understand this. So I'm saying that no, I didn't. And so I learned at that time that without my knowledge or consent, they took my middle son out of his elementary school, drove him down to the police station without my knowledge or consent, interviewed him, and also did the same thing, and examined him, and also did the same thing with my oldest son, who was in junior high at the time. He was 12. Without my knowledge or consent, took him out of school, drove him to the police station, interviewed him, examined him. This is, I'm saying this because this is completely unlawful. This goes against our constitutional rights, the 4th and 14th Amendment.
Yeah, and mind you, we have a template, actually. We have a template in the Porthole to Justice, which is something to keep in your children's school file.
Yes.
That you can use to exercise this right. Because if you don't exercise them, you don't have them.
Exactly. You don't. And, I mean, growing up, I knew my rights for the most part. And so they did this. So I know my kids are at the police station already, right? But my baby, obviously, is here at the house. And mind you, they didn't have a search warrant. No warrant. So that's also a big, huge no-no. And so they are not allowing me to console my child, will not let me near my child. And, I barely was able to put shoes on my child before we're heading down to the police station. They read me my Miranda rights. And so at that moment, I'm like, okay, I'm going to remain silent, and I want an attorney. They refused this to me several times. I was there at the station for 8 hours being interrogated, telling me I'm this awful mother, that I punched my son in the face, and I gave him a black eye. I'm like, he doesn't even have a black eye. It was like so just blown out of proportion. And I'm like, no, I didn't, And, I forgot to mention, when I got out, when I was in, when they pulled me out of the bedroom, I don't see my dog anywhere. All the doors are open. And I don't see my then husband anywhere. And come to find out, they had handcuffed him and put him in the back of a police cruiser outside of the house, quote unquote, for his protection, while they can come in and take me. And so back to the interrogation. So, and my shoulder is hurting so badly. Like, I'm like, it's broken. And they're not believing me. They're calling me theatrical. They refuse to give me water. They refuse to let me go to the bathroom. They were just awful. And, I'm crying. I'm hysterical. And, I think I passed out at one point. And so they come in like, well, your family's saying that you're abusive, and so you're going to jail. I'm like, oh, they did not either. And so they haul me off to jail. But before they haul me off to jail, I'm insisting that I go to the hospital because there's something seriously wrong with my shoulder. And it turns out that he tore my rotator cuff, which that's what, like, major tennis players get. Like, this is, like, huge force, right? And so, in jail, it took them 4 days to get me painkillers. Oh, my gosh, it was awful. So, I'm in jail, and they send my now ex-husband home. They take my kids. They're removing the threat of me, right? I'm the threat. And they send my ex-husband home. And the question here is, if they removed the threat, why didn't they send my boys home with him? And so what does he do? He proceeds to drink very heavily, like he always does. And he then threatened the school that he was going to go down there with a gun and shoot a child every hour until his children were returned to him by CPS. So that he subsequently got arrested for terrorist threats, but there was lack of evidence there, so his case got dismissed. And like I said before, the dude is Teflon. It's so weird how he never gets in trouble for his actions. Mm-hmm. Even to this day. And so then I'm in jail. Never been there before in my life. Not understanding anything that's going on. I'm like, well, I'm innocent. No big deal, right? This is America. Sure,
you're going to get out. You're going to, the truth's going to come out. You're going to get out, and everything's going to be great.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And you keep waiting. Like, you keep waiting. You're like, for your moment, And
I'm honestly waiting for my husband to bail me out, right?
Yeah.
No. The dude refuses to bail me out with my truck. My bail was like $500, I mean, it was, but it's like 5,000, so it was like 500, the 10% or whatever. And he refuses to do that. And then he proceeds to call all my friends, all my church friends. I was part of the choir and, I belonged to this church for years and, kept a perfect house, my children didn't want for anything. I mean, they had everything they needed. And so he tells them that I was arrested for child abuse and I went to prison for 4 years.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And then,
totally serious.
So, I'm like,
I just sunk in at this moment. Wow, this is really serious.
All the time I've covered you, and you're gonna throw me under the bus like that? I mean, it was like his chance to be the good guy. His chance to look like the good guy. I think is what the whole thing is like, because it's like alcoholics are like that. It's ridiculous. So then, my parents and my family members and friends that obviously support me, that have known me my whole life and know what I've been through and everything. So my parents bought me this attorney, Chuck Kish, that convinces my family and I that the only way out of this is to plead guilty in order to get out of jail and fight for my kids back. Ow. Sorry, I just hit my hand really hard on the computer. So then I'm like, no, I'm not going to plead guilty to something I didn't do. That makes no sense. I'm going to go to trial, and everyone will see that I'm innocent. No big deal. And it's December at this point, so I get in there November 28th. So it's like, Christmas time. It's freezing. My mom drives 2.5 hours to come visit me in tears, shaking, and begging me to plead guilty to this so I can get out of jail. And I'm like, this makes no sense. How could pleading guilty get me out of jail? But and my mom's like, look, Wendy, trust me. You have to do this for your. He had her so convinced, and why would we question him? He's a legal expert. The great green smog of the legal world, and only he can interpret it. And so we have to pay him $10,000 to interpret it and make it right. Oh, what a crock. And so I'm like, all right. And every fiber of my being was like, don't do it. Don't do it. But I'm like, okay, Mom, I'm going to trust you. I'll do it. And so January 17th, 2013, I pled guilty to the charge of felony corporal punishment on a child. And I get out, and the first thing I did was I filed for divorce and for a restraining order. I'm like, that's it. Because before this, I'm thinking, I'll pray for him, and once you're married because God hates divorce. But while I was in there, when I went to the chapel that they have there in jail, I learned a very important verse, 1 Corinthians 7:15. For if the unbeliever departs, let them depart, for I call you to live in peace. And so that was another pivotal moment of I can divorce him and I'm still going to heaven. So It's okay.
Yeah,
then
inner peace. You know,
yeah,
and it's
I call you to live in
At
peace.
the top of the show, it's like I said, you know, we hold on to this. We can pray it away. We can make it work. And, you know, sometimes it's like you need divine intervention, you know.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say this in the last one either. 2 weeks before they stole my children for profit, I tried to leave. My mother came to get me, but he wouldn't let me leave with the kids. I was trying to wait for him to pass out, but that didn't work because he was on meth. So then I remember just screaming at God, going, I am in prison. I'd rather be in prison rather than be in this prison. And I remember thinking in jail, going, I didn't mean it, Lord. I didn't mean it.
And you're like, poof, instantly, you're in Job.
I am Jobette, right? So then, yeah, he has a sick sense of humor sometimes. So anyway, though, but I'm so thankful for it now. I look back at all of this in hindsight going, this is how it was supposed to be, and I'm so thankful for it, and I would do it 10 times again just to have the intimate relationship I have with my Creator now that I did not even know was humanly possible. I will do it again and again and again because there's nothing like it, and I am so thankful for where I'm at right now in my life. So,
I mean, and you like really went through the ringer with the courts. Just, I mean, inserting a fraudulent case of an entirely different woman into your case, just so they could substantiate your case and make it even worse than what it was. And
in the criminal court, yeah, because in California, there's CPS court, which leads to criminal court. The criminal court is a completely different case. It's two separate cases. So in criminal court, they somehow put Wendy Ann Green, a.k.a. Tiffany McDermott, on the papers. And no matter what I did, like, I couldn't get that freaking name off the papers. But that's more forwarded.
Yeah,
so
and
we'll get back to that.
We'll get into that in another show. Because this is part of the whole fraud that I often will speak about, you know,
yes,
on the portal to justice. But yeah, but let's stay on point because I do have to wrap it up soon. But you hit rock bottom.
Oh, I did. Oh, when I got out, I just assumed that social services would help me. And I assumed that shelters would take me in. I assumed that I could get cash aid and food stamps and that sort of thing. But no, I was denied by every women's shelter in Southern California because my children were not with me. I was denied food stamps and cash aid because my children were not with me. Oh, and I have a felony. And I was denied the social work, nothing. I could not get any help whatsoever.
The Scarlet Letter felony, child abuse.
Yes. And so, and plus I had work release. So I have this case plan and I have work release. And so now, miraculously, I did complete this case plan by the 18-month hearing. Homeless. I was homeless on the street for 13 months with no help. None.
And I had no idea because I'm reading your Canary stories and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she is so powerful. She is just like walking her walk. She's a warrior mama. And I had no idea. And I was living right there in Woodland Hills. So I didn't even know. I'm reading your column. And, you know, I'm just amazed that you're sharing your story today, and I didn't know these details. So I'm completely in awe.
Yeah, it was no fun. I'll tell you that. And at the time when I was homeless, I had, because my divorce was final in 2013. And so that's November 6, 2013. I celebrate that day. It was finalized. And so I had a boyfriend that was homeless with me that kind of protected me, and I thought he was, like, amazing. And one day, in 2014, he stopped taking his Wellbutrin and started doing meth. And it's amazing how all of a sudden he turned into my ex-husband, like, exact same words, like, came out of his mouth that, like, my ex-husband said. And I'm like, oh, I recognize that. Bye. I'm not doing this. And so Because at the time we were...
This is the bad...
Yeah.
This is the Satan influence, you know, because